And open the meeting. Beth, can you take meeting minutes?
Yep.
Okay, because we did get a polite email from the town clerk about
Our lack of minutes.
yes, lack of meeting minutes, and unfortunately I'm on 3 other committees, so I got the email 3 times. So Affordable Housing Steering Committee is not the only one behind on meeting minutes. So, but anyway, if you do that during our next meeting, we can kind of divvy up what we can do, and then I found out how much they're paying the other person at the housing trust to do stuff. So I'll figure out what available from Chris Senior on that if we can. So
Okay.
So I wanted to start the meeting by picking the next meeting date if we have that.
You have October 17th.
I do at 4
That
p.m. Is everyone
sounds
okay?
correct.
So we're gonna confirm that. Okay, and then we'll go with the affordable housing development site updates, and under this category, we're going to have Clark Brewer join us with his team because it falls under site development. So I just want to give you guys a quick update as to where we are. Either today or yesterday, the state finally recognized the 20 housing units at CJC. So now we're, I believe, at 10.1 or 2, Cassandra, on 40B.
Yes, so this afternoon, we did receive confirmation that the 20 units at 390 CJC do count towards the SHI count. So now our percentage is 10.19.
10.19.
Hey,
We're
we just tweaked over
We're
the,
overachievers. 10.19. So it just takes one more building to put us under, but so that's great news. Because we're still in safe harbor and we're just a hair above the requirement. So that's good news. And we know that there's other sites coming on. So let me quickly give you an update of the other sites. The simplest one is down at the end of South Main Street. I always forget the number, 147, 143, somewhere over there, 147. She's nodding.
147.
So, yeah. So he's going through the process, and hopefully we'll be hearing from him soon to get his counted. He volunteered to put one in, even though he's not required to.
he has a total of how many units there?
What's
3?
that?
How many units total does he have
3.
there? 3.
Yeah, one of
So
them.
one of the 3 will be affordable. Okay.
Right. One of them will be deeded affordable. We get credit for all 3. 55 South Main Street. We were told in a public meeting that that went into foreclosure. So I'm going to leave it on our list because if somebody purchases that property, they may want to move forward with what the property was approved for. If they move forward and agree with everything and it was approved for, then they move forward with developing 12 units or whatever they were going to do. If they want to make any changes, they have to go back to planning board and start all over again, kind of thing. But if anyone buys the property and decides to put housing on it, then we'll be part of the conversation. So that's kind of where that is right now. 1 Pleasant Street is the only other item on our list that we know of. So the property at 1 Pleasant Street, as you know, is 14 apartments in which we would get credit for all 14 because they're apartments. The town has made an offer to buy the building and convert the first floor into town hall. And they want to keep the affordable units upstairs and have those as rentals as part of 40B and workforce housing. So they would deed all 13. They want to only have 13 units, not 14. There's 1 unit they want to keep that space for employees. So it would be 13 units that would be deeded between affordable and workforce housing. But we get credit for 13 units as affordable housing, whether the other ones are workforce or not, we get credit for all of them. So at this point, the way that I look at it is, it doesn't matter who owns the property, we're gonna get credit for 13 or 14 units. The process for that property, right now is that it's going to be on the, it's gonna be on the warrant in the fall town meeting, where the town will vote to acquire the building for the purpose of using it as the town hall. If that passes, then it has to go on the election ballot, because it's going to be a Prop 2.5 override. You have to vote to spend the $10 million for the building. So if that passes in May, then the town can procure the building. That's the process I understand that it would go through, kind of in a nutshell. So it's going to be a unique situation, because fall town meeting traditionally is to kind of adjust the budget halfway through the year, kind of where we are. You know, did the things we ordered come in? Did we spend the money we said we would? Are we on track, kind of thing? But this year, they're in a hurry to acquire this property, because it is a commercial property that will go on the market at some point. So they want to take the opportunity to do that for whatever.
And Paul, what do they propose to do with the town hall, existing town hall?
They plan to keep it. And if they keep it, they still have to fix it. So that's going to be up for discussion at the town meeting as well. There's other property that they want to buy that will be also listed at that fall town meeting. So it's going to be kind of a big wish list going on there. So it's upwards of 20-25 million ask for everything. I told them that if they really want everything to pass, they should add JJ's Junction in and buy that as well. You know, get it to the rec department. I said, everyone will vote for JJ's Junction, right? So, but we'll see what happens. I don't know. There's a lot of things on there that more complex that I believe should be at a regular annual town meeting. And everything we've done in this town was always told you can't take it to the fall town meeting. You got to go to the annual. Now, all of a sudden, we don't have to go. We just voted against a $24 million town hall. They said they needed 16,000 square feet. What they're buying is 8,000. So in 4 months, they've decided they don't need 16, they could live in 8. So if 5 months ago, they said they could live in 8, maybe it wouldn't have been 24 million, but you know.
So
So
fall
think-
town meeting is going to be contentious.
Yeah, so well, maybe not, because fall town meeting never starts until like 20 after 7, because we can't get 100 people there for a quorum. So that'll be the trick, is to get the quorum, which we may not have a problem this year based on if they keep doing those public service announcements on buying the building, then I think a lot of people will show up. But
Do you know the date for the
Goodbye.
meeting yet, Paul?
They sent a postcard today. It's like
yeah.
What did-
November
Mhm.
15th
Third or
and
something?
17th,
middle?
13th and 15th. or
I
something.
think it's the 13th.
So Beth, this will be amusing, because that's the day of the Marine Corps luncheon.
Oh,
Yeah, so we'll be in Boston all day, eating and drinking with 2,000 Marines. And
I'll put you in a mood.
yeah, I said that it actually might make sense after the day, you know.
Yeah.
But, so the only other updates I have for you is really projects that are not in front of anyone in particular. One project that I get a lot of questions about is, you know, somebody floated an idea of some large scale apartments going on North Main Street. They haven't been in front of us. I haven't heard much more about it. You know, they've been, you know, putting it out in the public domain, probably to get the feedback. And so we haven't heard from anybody. I'm not sure if anybody went to planning. But anyway,
No, not
that's
yet.
out there. Not yet,
We haven't
right?
seen it.
So, and there's no sewer down that end. That'll kind of limit their scope anyway. But and then the next item is what Clark Brewer and his group is going to bring to us. So Clark is on the planning board. Clark was one of our original board members of the Affordable Housing Steering Committee, and really did a great job
Yesterday.
those first couple years with us, trying to figure out. I think it took us a year to count the housing, and then figure all that stuff out. So and Clark is also an architect, so he's in the industry, and so he's got great cardinal knowledge of what's going on out there. So with that, Clark, the floor is yours.
Well, yeah, just follow up on the Zero North Main. They were proposing like 100 units, and zoning supports like 7 houses. It's in Residence B. So I'm not quite sure what they're thinking on that particular one. Another point, I guess, would be that since I've been on the committee, seems like Cohasset has gotten a lot less affordable. If I read the real estate ads than ever. So I want to thank you for letting us meet with you. We have the owner, Doug Scott, and his partner, Robert. Hi, Robert. And the proposed project is on Hull Street, right in the middle. I could do a share screen if that helps.
Sure.
Okay.
This doesn't abut Lambert's Lane by any chance, does it?
It does not, no.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. So I emailed this over.
Yeah, we have it in the email with your attachment there.
Yeah, so this is the site right here. Lambert's Lane is considerably down. This west corner's over here.
Okay.
And so some of the, in looking at the site, some of the benefits are we've got a big wide open space. And it's residence, it's zoned residence A, which is 18,000 square foot per unit. Currently, there's a 2-family house on it. But you really can't do anything with the back, but it's a half a mile from the bus, maybe 3/4 of a mile from the Hingham train station. And what I've done is put together a preliminary plan. So this is west corner up here on the location map, and then this is the site.
Okay.
It's a little over half an acre site. And we have had it surveyed. The wetland line is approximately here, actually exactly here. So we'd be looking for the waivers, and so what's planned is adding 2 4-unit like townhouse type buildings. One in the back and then one towards the front. Little over 1,100 square feet per unit. It's 3-bedroom, but the 3rd bedroom is pretty small at 7.5 by 11.
Mm-hmm.
And really we're just testing the waters at this point. See what everybody thinks. I mean, it's on Route 228, and right across the street is Hingham, right? So
Yeah.
So now, Clark, are you one of the owners of this property?
I am not an owner, no.
Okay.
I'm just the architect.
Okay.
The 2 owners sent. Yeah, Susan, the 2 owners are on.
Yeah, I know that, but I didn't know if Clark was also.
Yeah.
No, nope. I'm just the idea nuts and bolts guy.
So is the is the duplex coming down in front, or is that remaining?
Well, the idea is to keep that in place,
Okay.
and then add these units
Okay.
to the site.
So it looks
Is
like
it
each unit is 960 square feet.
You said
Currently?
11.
We've got 1146 for the new units. and they are 3 bedrooms, but like I said, one of the bedrooms is pretty small. It probably would end up being an office for most normal people.
Are you anticipating that they're apartments or condos or what?
Well, we haven't gotten to the point whether it's they be condo or rental. That, that's a little
Yeah.
bit down the road in decision making.
Well, obviously, the advantage for the Affordable Housing Committee is if they're apartments, we can count all of them.
Sure, if they're rentals, then all
Right.
would count, and then 25% would be the actual affordable units.
Right,
80% of median income type,
yes. So that'd be 2 out of the 8.
2 out of the 8, right? So I just wanted to see if you had any questions for me. The next step is probably to meet with at least a couple of the selectmen individually before going to a selectmen public meeting, and see what they think in terms of a lip. The CJC projects were a lip, those 20 units were a lip, and 1 Pleasant Street was a lip, and actually Avalon got converted to a lip, and you guys know what lip means, local
No, I don't know.
initiative project. It's
Oh, a local initiative project. Okay, I
yeah,
understand.
it's a variation of 40B.
Mm-hmm.
So, just 2 comments. One is, Clark, you and I looked at 40R, making
Yeah.
smaller dwellings, and, as a builder or the owner of the property, he could get tax credits and financing for 40R, which is dwellings that are between, I think, 800 and 1,200 square feet or something like that. I forget the range.
Yeah, which this does qualify for then if it's
Yeah,
1140.
it would. Yeah, and it's a nice little project for that. And like I said, there's tax credits and there's funding mechanisms. So instead of a traditional bank, you can go get, some preferred financing or whatever it is. But so that's
Well,
one aspect of it. And then
We'll look into that.
yeah, so we'd prefer obviously apartments because we get credit for all the units, right? So
Yeah.
that would be great. And I will tell you that I am a sewer commissioner. And you may want to take a look at that 3rd bedroom and call it an office, because you would have to file, you're gonna have to file for a change of use, right, of the property, because you're adding 8 units now.
That's right.
It's roughly $9,375 per bedroom,
Got it.
right? So it'd be like 18,000 for a privilege and hookup fee on each unit.
Yeah.
You call it a 3-bedroom, obviously you've got to add another 9 to that.
Yep.
So,
Understood.
yeah.
And what is the setback from the wetland?
The setback is, it's about 10 feet from the flagged wetland line.
Is that allowed? I thought Concom required 50 feet.
Well, 50 feet is typical, but that we'd be looking for a waiver for that. I'll have to research what that is under 40R.
Okay.
But under 40B, you'd ask for a waiver, just like, the other setbacks. Number of
So what
units.
is the setback on the side property line?
Setback?
Yeah, actually, can you move it up? Because we
Yep.
can't see. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so we got, I think it's 8.5 feet over on this side and a little bit more. I think it's 11. Let me just zoom in on this.
And what is the setback for that
15.
area?
I beg your pardon?
What is the
Yeah,
zone?
zone setback is 15, and we've got these shown at 10.3, which is close. But since we're looking for waivers anyway, we still have the ability to adjust the size of the units based on preliminary comments.
Yeah, I think Concom might give you some trouble on that, but I can't speak for them per se, for sure.
Yeah, that's an issue, but again, that's why, the site is, I think, attractive for affordable housing because you can request, the waiver,
Mhm.
on the 50-foot buffer zone. It's not in the wetlands.
Yeah.
So that's good, right?
Right, yeah. So it looks like they'll be, I don't want to use the word hidden, but they'll be behind the existing property. So Beth's in the real estate business. So what do you think, Beth, from a
Um,
real estate perspective? I mean,
I think it looks intriguing, just the location wise, Hull Street is easy shot for commuting and stuff.
yeah,
And we definitely could use some more affordable type units, whether it's condos or apartments, but and if the town, takes the other apartments off the table, then that opens up more opportunity for this. What, if you had to put them on for sale though, what would you think you'd need to do? As a condo?
boy, 1,100 square feet. I don't know what that goes for nowadays, but I suspect.
I mean, for them to make their project work though, it
Yeah.
might,
Well, we haven't done comps or, pro forma or anything, really. It's just a preliminary plan at this point.
yeah, Yeah.
You 55 had a tough problem going back and forth between condo and apartment.
Yeah.
And, so,
So
Yeah.
what is the building that's in front there right at Hull Street? What is
Yeah.
that building?
This
That's a
one is-
house?
It's an existing 2-family.
And that's staying.
That's right.
So this is going kind of in their backyard, if you will.
That's right, because there's enough room to maneuver and park, and these guys can park in the back there.
Okay. Any thought of making it more U-shaped so you don't come so close to the side lot setbacks and the wetland as well?
Well, everything is flexible. We do need some turnaround room between buildings, but
Right.
we could certainly tighten that up. That's it's 30 feet now at the closest point. And we could tighten that up a little bit.
awesome. Well, if we can sway you to do apartments, let me know how to do that.
Yeah, we'll look into what works for the project. Ultimately the projects have to be financially successful
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
planning stages in order to go to the next step. So I can't commit one way or the other right now, but this is early on, so
Okay.
I thought it made sense to talk to you guys, let you know what we were thinking, and what I think might be the benefits of the project.
Well, I gotta tell you, I like it a lot. We've been, I'm also, was the chairman for 10 years at Elder Affairs. I'm still on the board of Elder Affairs, and we're always talking about folks who want to, downsize and still stay in Cohasset. So
Right.
it's hard to find the downsize and staying in Cohasset. So this is kind of at least 8 units. That would be appealing to do that.
And when we did the master plan, I was chairman of the master plan,
Yeah.
and we talked quite a bit about housing diversity and diversity in Cohasset, generally speaking, but creating housing diversity like this. These are, they're modest sized units. The townhouses in the village are 1,600 square feet, and
Yeah.
the basements don't count. So they're quite a bit bigger than these. So, hopefully it's a niche market that, there's not a 1-to-1 relationship of square footage and sales or rentals. But again, having a good mix, I think is a benefit to the overall community. Yeah, because people want to downsize and, you know, maybe they're up here 6 months out of the year at this point, and then 1,100 square feet or 2 bedrooms does the job.
Yeah. Speaking as someone who 4 years ago, my husband and I did downsize and sold our house. Clark, you've been by you know where our house was on South Main Street, and
Oh, yeah.
we're into a condo now. Um, a lot of people, especially if you're talking about like Cohasset Elder Affairs, Paul, and seniors, don't need more than 2 bedrooms. So you may want to think about that from the standpoint of keeping it to a 2 bedroom as opposed to the 3 that you were thinking about, and just, the small could be the office or whatever, or make the rooms larger, whatever you need to do. But
That's fine.
my thought also would be to see if you could try to configure it, maybe you'd only get 7 instead of 8. I don't know if that numbers work for you to financially make that work, but to try to keep it within the setbacks as much as possible. Side yard setbacks, I think, are important to try to keep it to whatever the zoning would require normally, if you can do so. And then the wetlands, you're just gonna have to see what Concom has to say, because I know they can be really sticky about that. But I love the idea of it. I think I might just want to see it configured a little differently. But I totally agree. I think there's a market for it. I mean, Beth, you're more in the real estate side of things, but I'm just speaking from personal experience, that there's.
Having the garage is really good, and the smaller option, like you say, Clark, maybe somebody just wants a little small place up here to come for the summer. The only thing is, up and down, some people don't want stairs, but
Well, that's certainly true, and these units are planned so that you can put a residential elevator, small residential
oh, well, that's a good
in
touch.
the
Yeah.
unit. I understood that the townhouses in the village, at least 1 or 2 of those, have a residential elevator to help with future or present mobility. I know my knee makes a funny cracky sound whenever I go up the stairs. Doesn't hurt though, but
It's just-
not everybody
It's not the noggin, it's not the noggin rattling, is it?
Yeah.
Well, we have 2 bedrooms upstairs. We do not have any bedroom on the main floor. And
you
our
don't?
one daughter, tells me that, Mom, that's what's going to keep you young and healthy. My great grandmother lived to be 96, and she was in a 2-story house, and she went upstairs every day till the last week of her life. So, it all depends on, lifestyle to a degree too. But if there's no way to get a second or a bedroom on the ground floor, then you're looking at upstairs.
Right.
No, I think they're definitely, like you said, there's a niche for it, and it is, I remember we talked a lot about some modest houses that people could downsize to and, sell their bigger house. So I think there's a need for it. What number House Street is it again?
149/151.
Okay.
And the design looks great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
I
worry
think that's important.
about the setbacks, because I think it's more getting, like you said, the turnaround space, so people don't feel like, oh my God, how am I gonna swing my car in and out?
Right.
So, I mean, if you're gonna have to go for a variance anyway, I think you try to make it all as spacious between it as you can. That's where you'd rather see it, rather than anybody worrying about the setbacks.
Well, there's a good and a bad side to every kind of approach. If it's possible to comply with most of the zoning and Concom requirements, then great. If it's not, then we're asking for waivers. So that's
the way to approach it. Try
That's
to
the
comply
road
if you can, and if it doesn't work, then see what they say.
maximum feasible compliance.
Awesome. Well,
All
great.
right. Well, I appreciate your time.
Yep, no
and,
problem at all.
I'll follow up on the 40R, and we'll get back and keep you in the loop on progress.
Okay, and just, when you're doing your financial analysis, make sure you keep the sewer stuff in mind.
I will, I will.
That's always has been a surprise to people, with the change of use. Like, oh, I'm already on sewer. I'm like, yeah, but because
Michael, let me talk to
the-
her later.
yeah, there's a sewer connection fee tied to One Pleasant Street, so you know, um, it's a big one too. So just keep that in mind.
Yep, that's critical to running a accurate pro forma on the project and making sure that there aren't any surprises. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Clark, are you
Mr.
staying with
Commissioner.
us to discuss the ADU situation or not?
I did copy the ADU for you guys, and I did want to my guys don't have to stay for this, but they
Right.
can. I did want to go through what the changes are to the ADUs. The other thing that it would be interesting to you guys, I think, is inclusionary zoning. We do have some revisions to that, but I don't have a final version. And they did reinforce the preference for on-site,
Okay.
which was not a part of the inclusionary zoning for the village or the harbor overlay district.
Right.
But I haven't seen the final version, so I'm not really prepared to talk about it, other than the plan is to eliminate the payment in lieu of option and have a strong preference for on-site as
Okay.
opposed to on-site.
That's what we're looking for. Yeah.
And then there was some partial unit payment, like, if you're doing, let's use 55 South Main Street as an example. If you're doing 12 units and you're required to do 2, you could do the payment in lieu of for the 0.2 and provide the 1 affordable unit.
Yep. Okay.
Clark, is
Yeah.
the ADU zoning bylaw changes, are they completed now, or is there still opportunity for community input?
Well, the planning board hasn't had the public hearing yet, so it's been working with the judge and the zoning bylaw committee.
What do you mean the
Cassandra-
judge? I don't
judge-
understand.
Yeah, so
town has a-
KP Law,
This is
KP Law
interesting.
has a judge, Judge Cutler, who's been spearheading our zoning changes. The main goal is to organize and get rid of stuff that nobody knows why it's there anymore, and with a few edits. And the ADU was one thing that we wanted to make changes to. So I mean, I can give you the Mile High overview. Right now, the ADU's been in place for almost 20 years. We've had one successful special permit with the ZBA in all that time. And basically what happened 20 years ago is the ADU that was too tough. I mean, you can't change an exterior of a house. And then another issue is the approval, the special permit approval goes away when you sell your property. And they all had to be contained within an existing house. Oh, I think I have my my
There's a mouse.
architectural
There's a
partner.
mouse in the house.
There's a
my
junior
architectural
Clark.
partner here. So those are the 3 things that we changed. 1, you can make changes to the exterior. 2, you can the special permit approval would flow with the land instead of the original owner, so that if you're spending 150,000 or 200,000 to create an ADU, you would get the benefit of that development when it comes time to sell, and
Yeah,
that
transferring.
and the future owner who might be looking for a granny flat or whatever diverse housing needs, how those evolve over a short period of time sometimes, and less often over a long period of time, but they get the benefit of that special permit that would flow with the deed instead of with the owner. And the other big thing is allowing an ADU in an accessory structure. There are still a lot of controls that we didn't touch, and some said we should loosen it up completely, but we still have 10 units per year and a maximum of 250 over 25 years. So what's 25 years from now? 2048. And we thought we should leave those controls in place and see what happens. I mean, if we get 10 applications in a month, the first month this zoning takes effect, then we know that there's pent up demand. Just kind of anecdotally, in Los Angeles County, ADUs make up the largest number of building permits that are pulled these days.
And what does that do to us, Paul, for affordable housing? Because that's adding to the, as Rob used to refer to,
Yeah.
the denominator of housing.
It would add dwelling units that don't necessarily count towards the SHI, although they could.
So I believe we had this discussion like, I don't know, 5 years ago when we started this whole ADU conversation. I believe it has to have it has to have its own bathroom and kitchen, I believe,
Right.
Yeah,
in order for it
I
to
mean,
count.
but that's what a lot of these would be proposed to do. So then if you add an ADU that has 1 or 2 bedrooms and it's got its own little kitchenette and bathroom, then it becomes an additional dwelling unit. So
It would,
then
yeah.
that adds, is that correct, Clark?
That's right. Yes.
So then that
absolutely.
would add to the, what we call the denominator. So
Yeah.
that means that, and it would not be necessarily affordable housing in perpetuity. So then that pushes higher the requirement of affordable units that we would need to have in the town.
That's right. It would up the count.
Yes. And unless it's required to be affordable in perpetuity, if somebody wants to put that in for their particular unit, but otherwise it's something that is going to increase our denominator, which, we're already barely over the 10%. I
Yep.
don't see it necessarily benefiting us as in terms of affordable housing.
Well, I mean, it would create an opportunity for buy downs, right? If an accessory dwelling unit of 900 square foot hasn't changed. If it's worth 400,000, just to throw a number around it, and you bought it down to an affordability limit, let's using round numbers, 200,000, it's still an opportunity to do a buy down for getting it on the SHI.
I don't know what you mean to buy down. How are you referring to that in this context?
Well, so you'd have units that are on the SHI and you'd have standard market rate units. So you typically take a market rate unit, do a buy down, and put a deed restriction on it so that it's affordable in perpetuity. That's what the Harbor guys did on that 4-family on Cushing Street.
On Cushing Street, okay.
So they didn't.
So
buy
that's
the
how
whole
this, you're
building.
saying that this could be done. So, I mean, if that were done, then it would affect us positively from an affordable housing standpoint, just in terms of numbers.
Well, it's, essentially the ADU is, lowercase affordable, not uppercase affordable that counts on the SHI, but there is the option for the buy down. And a limit of 10 per year. So, we wouldn't have 100 a year or 50 in a neighborhood or nothing like that. It's still
Yeah, it
fairly
could be
limited,
10.
so we can see how they go. I mean,
Yeah,
over the last 20 years, it's had no impact.
yeah.
That one unit didn't impact our total, other than one, and that would be the contributory share of 0.1 to the affordable total count.
I think there are also quite a few that are being utilized as dwelling units that are not done above board. So there may be
The
more.
illegal apartments.
Did I say that?
Yeah, I mean, the Mass General laws changed so that anything that exists for 10 years without a permit can remain. But if it's 9 years, 11 months, and somebody knows about an illegal apartment, certainly you could go to the building inspector and file a complaint, and it
Yeah.
could be torn down or whatever. Maybe converted to a legal ADU with the building code upgrades, that kind of thing. I mean, that's
Yeah.
sort of an opportunity. You don't want to waste your construction. So maybe you apply. We still have the guest house option, so granny flats could happen in the backyard, provided that the sewer capacity is available.
So Reach Ferry doesn't just make sheds.
Right?
They make granny flats.
Does Reed Fair, do they make granny flats? Well,
It have to be a very small granny
Granny.
flat.
Everybody's granny needs to be treated very specially, and they whatever that granny flat is needs to be really nice.
Yes.
Well, this is probably not the place for me to give any other additional feedback. I'll try to attend the community hearing, public
Yeah,
hearing when you do it.
Yeah,
Because I do have some input I would like to give towards it, but we don't need to take
I
time.
I would encourage you to stand up at town meeting, because my fear is nobody will. So.
Are you saying that to me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, I have feedback I'd like to give before it goes before town meeting. And it's something that I've already passed on to Woody, but I see that it's not included in these bylaw changes, so.
And
So there's,
do you want to share?
Specific to the town hall, they're gonna have, Monday, the 25th at 7 PM at the library. They're having an open public forum on it. They're gonna be doing 4 open public forums between now and town meeting,
Okay, 25th at the library, at what time?
7 PM.
And that's for One Pleasant
About the
Street.
ADUs?
No, that's One Pleasant Street.
Oh,
And
well,
in terms
no.
of the ADUs, the planning board's gonna have a public hearing on the 27th. That's our public hearing. You could submit any comment in writing or attend that meeting, or you could send it to me or Cassandra and we distribute your comments.
And
okay,
there's also going to be, for Paul's note, there's going to be a community meeting sponsored by the select board in regards to the zoning articles on October 23rd.
That's just a
October.
couple of weeks before the town meeting, so
October 27th.
October 23rd.
October 23rd was what she just said.
Oh, board, selectman meeting at night at 7.
No, a community forum sponsored by the select board.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not going to be a select board meeting, just a
So
community
were they
meeting.
gonna have, they don't know whether they're gonna have that yet, or?
I was told that that was the date they had planned on.
Okay.
It's been advertised on the town's website, so I assume that they're sticking with that date.
And would that be at Wilcott or where would that be?
probably, yeah.
I believe they're going to hold it at Wilcott.
Okay,
And they usually have cookies and juice.
yeah,
So Clark, your planning meeting, September 27th?
That's right.
And
At
then
7 PM?
That's the public. We usually start our meetings at 6:30. I'm not exactly sure. This particular one might start at 7.
Nope, 6:30.
Yeah, okay. And that's the public hearing, and frankly, we're focusing on the changes to the zoning bylaw. The organization part, I think is less operable or operative, if you will. But the changes, particularly the ADU changes, are what we'll probably end up talking about quite a bit, and they're subject to change right there at the part of the public meeting.
So Clark, there was a plan from the planning board last year to start making changes to the bylaws a few at a time.
Yep.
And then so start to present them at each fall town meeting, spring town meeting, fall town meeting, spring town meeting. So is there a certain group of them or certain subject matter going to be on this town meeting?
Well, essentially, this is Article 4 and 5, which is a consolidation
Okay,
and organization of several of the current zoning articles. But
Okay.
the goal is, yeah, to chip away at it,
okay,
set up an organizational structure, and then we can start, focusing more on content and tweaking once we've got the thing clear, organized, and the clutter removed.
okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know a big part of it was that zoning requirement by the T for high density housing or something, so,
Yeah, housing choice is a fascinating moving target. And I can just give you a quick update. The housing choice for any community that has MBTA service wants as of right multifamily zones within a certain distance of those train stations. And then there's built-in flexibility, but they've targeted every community with a kind of number for growth. Ours is 19% to have zone as of right worker housing, multifamily housing at a density of, Cassandra, it's like 15 units per acre, somewhere around 2,800 square foot of land per
Yeah,
unit.
so that sounds right.
And-
Without seeing the exact numbers in front of me,
Yeah,
that sounds
And I've
And
been
where do they think that's supposed to go?
Well, again, near
In
the
this town?
near the T station. Well, we don't have sewer there, so that's a problem, and there are all kinds of logistical issues. Tom Callahan thought, hey, this means mid-rise Avalon style buildings. I think that the pocket neighborhood concept could provide some housing diversity and benefits at a smaller kind of scale. And so I've been pushing that as a concept, but we don't know exactly where it's going, but we don't have to vote on it until I think fall of 2024. We have to have those bylaws passed. So we still have some time, but it's actively being worked on with a consultant.
okay. Just because we have the bylaw, it doesn't mean we have the land to do it, so.
Well, that's what my question was, because we've got a lot of wetland, we've got land that's in conservation, restrictions.
Well, it's got to be near the train station.
I
for the
know
most
that,
part.
but
And then it's got to be feasible to be buildable. So we can't just take a bunch of wetlands and say, here, this is where our housing choice is going to be.
yeah, that's
Um,
what
but
I'm talking
again-
about. We've got conservation land, wetlands.
Specific parcels are being targeted for this zoning change.
Okay, awesome.
Well, I think the project that you're working on with the two gentlemen who were here, Doug and I didn't catch the other.
Robert, yeah,
Yeah, Robert, that lends itself towards this on a smaller scale like you're referring to, and it works towards achieving that.
yeah.
And
it might make a
if
good-
the thing is, this is within 3/4 of a mile, I think you said, of the Hingham train
That's right.
station.
and-
Do we get credit for that? I mean, because it's not near the Cohasset train station, but if
Well-
it's near a public train station, doesn't that count?
You'd get credit for it under 40B. I mean, half a mile from the bus, but not under housing choice necessarily, because we're targeting non-residential districts for this housing choice program. So if you have an existing single family and just happen to be a half a mile from the train station, which I don't think exists, but for the sake of the argument, we're not locating housing choice density in the single family residential zones. So
Right.
it'd be basically highway business, technology business, that kind of type of zones.
Okay.
And there isn't sewer to support them, so but there could be, there could be in the future. Right, Mr. Sewer Commissioner?
I was gonna
Yeah,
say, ask
exactly.
our sewer expert here.
I know, it's good to wear more than one hat.
Yeah, yeah, I just say, yeah, they were probably a little surprised about the fee. I mean, most people are. Ours is probably double all the other towns, but
Hey, the price, the
Hey.
price of entry.
oh, by the way,
Yeah.
so in moving forward and referring to that train station in Hingham, technically that's Nantasket Station.
Yep.
Hull gets charged for that.
Yeah.
What do
They
you
put-
mean they
they
get
put that
charged for
on
that,
Hull?
Paul?
Yeah, so it's because they wanted, so the train used to go all the way to Hull. It used to go all the way behind the roller coaster.
I think there
So they
should
did
be a,
they did not want to leave Hull out of the Greenbush line, right? So they have the train, I mean, they have the buses that go there. And they, I believe, are part of this wonderful train station family of towns. That's why I believe it's called Nantasket Station.
Yeah, it is.
I wish
Fantastic
that
Junction.
there's a right,
I could be speaking out of turn here in a public meeting, but that is the hearsay that I received many years ago.
well, there's a right of way that goes from that
Yeah.
train station into Hull, and I think that would make a dynamite bike path.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Still there,
always
it's,
thought that.
yeah, it's still, there's a couple of bridges missing, but you could do it.
Well, we've got the
Yeah.
infrastructure bill that's getting ready to get put in place, so that's the kind of thing that money can be used for.
That's right.
Awesome. All right, well,
Again,
thank you
thank you
much.
for your time. I'll
Okay,
sign
Clark.
up and let you conclude your meeting.
All
Clark,
righty,
I'll follow
Thank
up
you.
with you about my ADU thoughts before the
Perfect.
27th.
That's great. Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks, Clark.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming on.
Good to see you all.
Thank you.
So,
Always informative, that Clark Brewer.
I know. I do miss him. He used to have some great conversations.
Yeah. Yeah, Cassandra, we used to have a 5-minute meeting, but Clark was on our group. So it was always lengthy. But yeah, he was one of the original members of the Affordable Housing Steering Committee, so it was great because he had some really great input from that perspective, and it worked out really well. So so next on the agenda were some subcommittee updates, and I don't know if Mary is on. I've got an S on my screen here. I don't know what that is.
So Mary is unable to make the meeting. She emailed me earlier.
Okay, so she's not on, so we don't have any kind of habitat updates. I haven't heard from anyone. We did a groundbreaking. I haven't seen pictures of the shovels anywhere.
Oh,
I'm not on social media, but I've certainly gotten about 80 invites to the golf tournament.
oh, yeah. I
I
think
thought they would put,
they were on the Anchor, whatever the Anchor
oh,
is.
I thought somebody would
One
put
of my
them on
friends
Cohasset
said, "Oh, I thought you-"
143.
No, it was on the Anchor. I don't know if you, I guess if you could Google the Anchor, you'll probably
What's
see
the
it.
anchor, Beth? I don't know what that is.
I don't know. It was my
I don't know,
friend.
Jen, she's younger than we are. Are you onto those?
What's
I-
the
It's some
anchor?
kind of a publication, like an online.
I
Yeah.
have heard, I've heard people talk about it, but I haven't been on yet.
Yeah,
Oh, I
it's
thought it
great.
would go on to Cohasset 143. That would be where it should go, because there's a
Yeah.
lot of people who, look at that and follow it and then could see, oh, I didn't even know this was happening.
So in under the updates, I will give you an update that I did do a public service announcement video for the town.
Oh,
Along with Cindy Matheson, who is Paul Schubert's wife. She's on the Housing Steering Committee. I'm sorry, the Housing Trust.
The trust, right?
And, so the two of us went on 9/11 after the ceremony in the Commons. We went down to 1 Pleasant Street, and we shot a video with the town, Justin, who does the public relations for the town. So we did that on the affordable housing aspect of it. I haven't seen it. I don't know if they're posting it anywhere yet or not.
oh, that was promoting the new proposal you were for us to.
No, so we didn't, yeah, so we didn't speak specifically to the town buying it. We spoke specifically to the affordable housing aspect of it and how great it would be for the town. And there were quotes from the police, fire, and I believe someone from the school committee that said how wonderful it would be if our employees could live in the town that they work in. And So,
Well, places like that project that Doug and Rob are proposing, all of those are, ones that can help towards that.
right,
The
right.
same
So
for
that's
our
our-
fire department, and police, all those.
Yeah, so workforce housing is a big thing in the state of Massachusetts, and it's the most sought after grant money, and the grant money is always dried up like by the second day it's open. And so that's pretty huge. So there is a video out on YouTube with the town manager and one of the select board members, I believe the chair of the select board, promoting the facility as far as the town hall. So I did do that on behalf of the Affordable Housing Steering Committee. And that was kind of a last minute ask. I am involved with them trying to find a solution to managing affordable housing. If the town should buy the building, then there has to be a custodian who operates the facility for affordable housing. So they have to find some entity that would take charge of the apartments and run the apartments. So the town would not be the landlord. So there's a lot of people are trying to figure out how to structure that. And other towns have done it. Norwell being one of them. They have their own little Norwell Housing Authority, like we have the State Housing Authority for 60 Elm. Towns can have their own housing authority if they want to do it. I'm not opposed to doing it that way.
Well,
Also-
we could actually ask the director, I presume she's still there, when I was on Housing Authority, the Cohasset one, up till, 2 years ago. We shared the same director with the Norwell Housing Authority.
But
So we-
wouldn't it have to be, so
Ask
what
her
I
how
do,
she-
Taffy always says that they can't control who goes into Elm Street anymore. It's like the state
That's
man.
That's
So
right.
if you're trying to get local workforce housing, we can't
That
have the
doesn't-
state in the middle of
So there's a deed
Right.
restriction. Well, there would be a deed restriction for affordable housing. And the deed restriction for the affordable part means that 3 or 4 of the units are restricted to income qualification. The other ones are regular market rate apartments. Now, if the town decides they want those for workforce housing, they can say they want it for workforce housing. And but if they deed restrict it, then they have to go by, I believe, how the state governs the restrictions. So I know that 60 Elm, there's a list of preferences that come first, right? So veterans get the first preference, and then a local town preference, and whatever other preferences, and
The
then,
local town preference is not up there anymore.
oh, that's gone. Okay.
it. Yeah,
So-
that was Taffy's point, was that we
Yeah.
can't put
Yeah.
local preference
Yeah,
ahead of-
because I mean, even when I was there a couple of years back, if there's somebody who applies and they live in Springfield, they're considered just like anybody who's grown up in Cohasset.
Right,
Right.
right.
Your mother or your sister or your
Yeah,
whatever.
we used to have local preference. I forget what the preferences are. I know veterans took priority the last go around when they were changing some of the rules around. But I thought there was still local preference. I'm surprised there isn't. Cassandra, do you know anything about that aspect of it?
I'm not sure, but I could look into it.
Okay. Yeah, because if that's gonna be a big. You might want to be prepared for that, because if you're gonna be involved in data or information for the town manager to present, people are gonna want to know, well, how do you know it's workforce housing? Or how do you know it's, so workforce housing is, I believe, well, we call it 40R. Well, 40R is the size of affordable housing, and then there's workforce housing, which is their income is calculated similar to affordable housing, but a different, threshold. And those are when you have basically, a working couple with a certain income can't quite, get the affordable market rate. So, and I know when I dealt with NeighborWorks, which is one of the groups I'm trying to chase down for the town, When you go over the Shipyard Bridge going north, and you take a left by that Dairy Queen on the side street going to the Quincy Shipyard. So the old big General Dynamics office building that was on the right-hand side as you go around the corner, that's now called the Winston. I think it's the Winston, yeah. And they converted that big office building into three things. One is a third of the building is market rate, a third of it is workforce housing, and a third of it is affordable housing. And the fastest thing that went was the workforce housing.
Well, so maybe we can find out what they did, how they did it.
Yeah, it's a pretty remarkable. They got a lot of state grants, from different agencies to put that whole thing together. And NeighborWorks was part of it, one of the nonprofits that was part of that deal. We had toured that facility. I went there with two of the selectmen to show them what could be done and what's possible. And we met with those folks there early on when we first started the Affordable Housing Steering Committee, because we were looking to do some veterans housing in Cohasset. So those, how the town is going to be able to do it, I'm not sure. And they're not the only town that has ever had this proposal in front of them. Other towns have done it, and like I said, I think Norwell has already done it. And so they're reaching out to different places to find out, hey, would you want to run our affordable housing for our town? That kind of thing. It's not a person running it. It's a agency that has to run it.
Yeah.
So
Cassandra, do you happen to know what kind of response there was for the units on Cushing Street that are the ones that the CHP owns, in terms of any kind of workforce employees, local town employees who applied for that? Do you have any idea?
Sure. Back when they originally were accepting applications for that, I know that they didn't get applications in right away, and it took them a little bit. But I don't know how many of those applications were folks that worked in the town.
See, I think
So,
that,
but I could look into it as like a statistic.
yeah, just an example perhaps of what, what we could expect going forward for this One Pleasant Street. Because those are apartments too, as opposed to a condo or something.
Right. I think that would be a good example. So I could reach out to, I think MHP did that, not MHP, MCO did that. So I could reach out to MCO.
okay, so Jen, thanks for joining us. I'm happy to see you there.
Yeah, I was on earlier, but I was
There you
behind.
go. Well, that's
Screen.
fine. Yeah, you got us. You help us keep that quorum rolling. I know we need three, but
Yeah.
it's always great.
I'm sorry, I thought we had moved it to 4:30, so I actually have this on my calendar for 4:30, so
Okay,
that's a little
no
bit
problem.
late.
That works. Yeah, we'll keep jumping in halfway through is fine. That way there you won't have to do the meeting minutes. Awesome. So does anybody have any comments? Or anything not anticipated in 48 hours?
Cassandra, did Mary say, is it due to her health that why she couldn't come?
No, she didn't specify.
Yeah, because I know she has not been feeling good. Okay. I'll reach out to her. I'll send her an email and tell her I hope she's feeling okay.
Yeah, reach out to her, see how she's doing. I know, yeah, I saw Rich Monday when we were doing the PSA announcement. He didn't mention anything about it, but yeah, she was having issues when we went to the groundbreaking. I know that. So
Yeah, and I ran into her when I was over at the Habitat table at the farmer's market. I don't know, this was last week, I guess. And I know she hadn't been feeling well.
I do under member comments. I forgot to mention I did attend the Housing Trust Committee meeting. when was it? Last Wednesday morning, I think. Right, yeah. So I did attend that meeting. They went into executive session, so it was kind of frustrating because I beeped in at 9:15 and then they went into an executive session. So I'm here at the office trying to do stuff at my desk, but not leaving my computer in case they jumped on, but they didn't jump on until like 10.
And so they're doing a Zoom meeting as well?
Yeah. So, that went well. We just gave them updates on all that stuff and, it looks like that, the first property Habitat did in Cohasset and, is the one on Elm Street, which was the old sewer building. It was sold, part of it was sold. They made 2 condominiums of it, but they never deeded the property. So they didn't get counted and then we all discussed this 6 years ago when we started. So now one of them is being sold. So now they're going to deed
They're
that
gonna
one.
make the
unit.
changes, yeah, right,
Yeah,
which
so
is
we'll get
great.
credit.
We get one more counted.
Now more counted, so. So that might get us to 10.2 or yeah, 10.
Woo!
I don't know.
Ring
But
the
we're
bell.
Yeah, I know. So we're getting there, but so I did want to mention that to everybody. I don't know if anybody else, any other? Are they all right, so so our next meeting will be October 17th, same time, and then by all means, that November meeting is the 13th, I believe. For the town hall meeting. I mean, that town hall meeting, yeah, it's for the fall town meeting. Will be the 13th, which is a Monday night. So as many people as you can invite and get there and give their opinion. That way they you know, when election day rolls around in May, they won't say, hey, what's this on the ballot? I don't remember it, you know,
So
so.
they're doing the special election on the 15th. That's what the postcard said.
Oh,
They came
really?
out,
They're
yeah,
putting it on the ballot in November?
that's what I think, because they're doing a special election in November.
Yes, that's the plan.
Really?
They're gonna, so you need to get to the informational meeting because they're trying to do a quick thing here. And I hope
Oh.
nobody's paying attention.
Oh, yeah, I'm not comfortable with that whatsoever. I thought it was gonna go on in the regular.
No.
We
This is,
elect the selectmen and we vote for, or we don't vote for taxes to be increased, you know?
So Beth,
Yeah, no,
you received a postcard today?
today
Oh,
from
You
the
don't know if-
town with really no information, just announcing a special special town meeting and special election 2 days apart in November.
Okay, yeah, I have to see if we got that postcard.
I'm certainly not,
It's
that,
kind of like,
that doesn't settle well with me at all. We've never done that before and to kind of,
No.
Kind of sneaky.
and that's what was my husband's comment was, you know, the fall is supposed to be the ho hum time. Nobody needs to worry about the springs when we do the elections.
yeah, it's
And major financial decisions.
huge. You're talking about $25 million and you're talking about a Prop 2.5 override.
Yeah, and that's what I said to him. I said, I would say there's an override in the offing, but I have not heard anyone talk about it yet.
Yeah,
Paul, are you on Facebook at all? Do you do Cohasset 143?
no, I'm not. I don't have a Facebook account, but it lets you look at it for like 10 minutes and then it tells you to get an account.
Yeah, because somebody needs to write something about that on the
Insane.
Cohasset 143.
I'm-
Because people need to know that that's what's going to be happening and the dates of these meetings, because
So Facebook is great for a lot of aggressive opinions, but you know, what's
Not for good
disappointing to me
information.
is you know, you don't get those at the town meeting. You know, that's where are all those people who chime in on Facebook? They don't necessarily translate in person to
right.
a town meeting, and that's what's really needed.
Well,
And-
that's why I was just thinking, just getting this as a notification of the date on there, just so
I'll
that
tell you what's
people,
gonna happen, you know, this is, so really, election day on a Wednesday in November.
The election, I believe, is on the Saturday, not on the Wednesday.
I don't know. I thought it said like 2 days apart. It was crazy.
Okay, yeah, so the 18th would be the Saturday.
Yes, so then the election is the 18th with the town meeting being the Monday, so I think that's the 13th.
Well, 237 people might decide to override all of our taxes.
Yeah, that's not
Yeah.
very taxation without representation, right?
Yeah, well. Yeah, so it'll
That
be,
probably has to be, not just simple majority either, right? It has to be
it's gotta be 60%, I would hope.
2/3.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. But like I said, this is not the town hall building committee we had for 6 or 7 years doing this. It was a whole separate committee that ran with this in 4 months. It took us 7 years to hash out 3 versions of a town hall, one at 8 million, one at 12 million, and one at 20 million.
And do you know
They
how
submitted
many
all three- they submitted all three of them.
thousands of dollars were spent on all those studies? Thousands and tens of thousands of dollars were spent on all those studies 2 times around. And
So
now
the-
this is all kicked out and we're gonna buy something else?
Right, so they were given $1 million, and which I think they spent about half of it on blueprints. And then all of a sudden, this committee in 4 months did the work of what they did for 7 years, apparently, in 4 months, and now we have a building. Not just that, but they want to buy the building on 3A to put the police and fire in there, and whatever else they're going to add to the pile, and then
Which building on 3A?
The one it's where there's a karate place and a gymnastics. It's where across the street from Mary Lou's and the
Oh,
pizza
yeah, the
place,
one that's like always looks like nothing's going on there.
red brick
That's
building.
kind of a treacherous place then.
It used to be,
They'd have to put a stoplight in there to get
Yeah.
those vehicles, emergency vehicles to come out.
so anyway, there's a lot of stuff going to happen very quickly, apparently. So I thought it was going in May. You know, we vote for a selectman, we vote for no taxes increase, and that's usually what happens, right? That's when the seniors come out.
They're hoping they're all in Florida.
What, school? Forget it. No way, you know. But yeah, so okay. So with that said, those were comments apparently from the members. So what
Yeah,
we'll do is we'll
I'm not taking notes on all those.
yeah, no. Yeah, just the main body of what we discussed is fine.
I just put down fall town meeting, special election.
Yes, exactly. They just said we needed minutes to the meeting. They didn't say,
Detailed.
yeah.
How elaborate.
So, okay, awesome. Cassandra, do you have anything for us other than those items, or? Okay,
Nope, just a motion to adjourn.
okay, thank you. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, second?
Ken?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay.